Well, hello, good morning, and welcome to the Rude Boy Sound. I'm the Rude Boy DJ Paul for Spurs Sound Off. What's happening today? I don't know what's happening today, but I think I need to get my phone, take a look at some of the games that are going on. I think Bournemouth is up to one the last time I saw it. I'm not sure what other games are there for the rest of the day, but I wanted to jump on and do a recap of the week, just saying, even though I'm not one who breaks down the transfer market, and by the way, I'm coming to you as always from the United States of America, Pennsylvania to be exact. So if there's anyone out there who wants to do some collaboration with me, you can always hook me up at the Rude Boy Sound or the Rude Boy Sound 63, I think. You can find me there on Instagram, the Rude Boy Sound on Facebook, and at DJ Paul Lawrence 9993. That's pretty much on Facebook, not Facebook, but YouTube. You can find me there, or you can go to the link in my bio on YouTube. And so, what we have over the week, of course, we played Arsenal and we lost. And there's some things that attribute to the loss, and bad calls, bad decision by the referee should never be the ultimate, especially at the time that it occurred. We will understand. I made the analogy a few videos back that this is not basketball, and in football, in order to get to two, you have to score one, and therefore, if you never score that one, who knows what would have happened down the line. The fact of the matter is that when that occurred, Spurs were actually leading. And so, while I'm not a big fan of VAR, I got into a discussion about that kind of call, and I gave my take on it, and I might revisit that as I do this video. Is that was never the excuse. Should never be the excuse why we actually lost. We defended poorly, and we gave away the ball, and poor positioning and poor play is why we lost. Poor management, poor substitution. And this is more a review in hindsight as well, but also the record is there. If you all want to go back and look at it, is a consistency which with I definitely don't agree half the times, or most of the times for that matter. I think I have maybe 2 or 3 games this year where I agree that the tactics employed, the formation, the way they play, the formation is never a problem for me. I like the formation. I just don't like how we play out of the formation. And so at one point, when I was looking at the team, I was saying, yeah, we could have played out a 4-2-1-3, but I know it's set up as a 4-3-3. But if you really look at it and see how deep Bissouma is and Sarr next to Bergvall, which you're using right now, or I use Sarr and Bissouma together, which I think is a great combination for us. I think we get more out of that. And if we're not going to use Madison, then you use Kulusevski inside and use Brennan Johnson on the outside. However, I think that a better functioning team is to use Kulusevski on the outside and use Madison as a number 10 with Bissouma and Sarr in the midfield. Both of them are athletic. Bissouma loses his head sometimes, and you see what happens against Arsenal. And also, it is something that happened last year as well. It was a rehash of a game that he was trying to nutmeg somebody at the tip of the 18-yard, and the ball end up in the back of our goal. But when you look at that play, in my critique of how we play in terms of how we bring the ball out, I might miss something because I saw it from the highlight. I was working and I was distracted and I was driving, so I have to be distracted pretty much in doing my job, not watching the game. So I had the game in my ear, but I barely see what was going on. But I didn't get a chance to go back and look at it, and so that's something I promise I will do, that I will continue to review, take, watch the game, then go back and look at it so I could actually look at exactly how everything occurred. But the problem with that is I feel like I'm wasting my time. And even though I might vanilla my review, it is, this is the reason why. And I'll tell you the reason why and exactly my reason. I started doing that when I wanted to that as in reviewing, watching the game twice and maybe three times, stop it, pause it, look at certain situation that occur, stuff like that. And that was where I realized that Brennan Johnson's strength is actually on the inside. That Brennan Johnson is definitely not a wide winger, nor his son a wide winger. Both of them plays better on the inside, or play better on the inside. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the manager caters to that. He wants to use wide winger, but we just don't have it. And if you don't have it and you have two people with the strength, then you bring them inside. For the fact that you want your fullbacks to come down, right? You can actually switch that. That's good tactics. If you don't have the inside, right? Or if you have the inside, right? Or you have no intentions to keep them inside, why not bring the two wingers inside, let them come back and help out so they can help the midfield out. When it breaks down, they're the first two to come back, even though Brennan Johnson show a lot of laziness in terms of his game. And then if you want wide wingers, then wide players, then you let your fullback go down there, and they can now become the width that you crave and what you want, because that's how your system is. That can be a tweak to your system. Ange is not willing to tweak the system that way. He wants his fullback come down and in, and both are suffering, because the fullbacks are suffering defensively and the wingers are suffering playing wide. They are not in their best position, and that's why I said that. That's why I said I review it to look at things to see if things were changing, and then I realized that by force of habit, Brennan Johnson was playing inside and he was scoring a lot of goals. And so the need to have Kulusevski on the pitch is a result of moving Maddison to the side. As Maddison have a bad game, you're like, okay, but other people are having bad games. Maddison is your most creative player. The thing with Kulusevski, as I explained in a previous video, is that he's dynamic. Kulusevski is like Eze. Eze has a little bit more class in terms of his ability, but they're both dynamic players in their own right. What Eze brings is that he doesn't do it in volume, meaning he might go on a tear and then he disappears or he gets injured, and the team suffer for that because there's a reliance on his production, which is far and few in between over a long stretch of games. And that is why even though I like Eze, I really liked him, I don't see the urgency to have him, because you're losing a whole lot. He would have to change his whole approach, or he has to be coached into it. I'm not sure if at his age and his stage, if that's what it is. He would be better for like a Man City who's just plugging the parts, or Liverpool who they're just plugging the parts, and so you fill in where you fill in, and you can use the limited amount of responsibility, so to speak, that you have. You have to have the quality to play for them. Don't get me wrong, but your responsibility is far less than what you'd have for a team like Spurs, or are more expansive and want you to work your tail off, right? You fit into a jigsaw with City and you just look like a world beater. And that's the difference with good teams. You plug the needs, because you're already good, you're already there. You just need someone to plug that spot. And I think, a player like Eze would fit a higher team that is higher up the scale. And so in looking at the game, I realized I was actually wasting my time, because whatever I'm looking at is a repetitive theme of what was being done. And then that's where I realized, before Ange actually said it himself, that I have no intentions of changing. And that was not encouraging. So in doing the work that I'm doing, I feel like I was wasting my time going back looking at. I mean, I'm edified, in terms of the knowing and seeing things the way I want to see things and what I'm explaining. So at least I'm not sending out false information when I realize that he's not going to change. I just read this morning. I don't have my phone with me, but I just read this morning where he was giving an explanation as to different types of manager and what they want or what they do. And the macro side of each manager is that those managers do have something that's built in that is not going to change no matter where they go. But what he missed in all of that is the flexibility of those managers. I think he was talking about Moyes, because we're going to play against Everton. That Moyes has been around for a long time. Moyes has been around for a long time. But if you look at David Moyes over the period of time, even though he's defensive, he's not negative. He will lose, with lesser players. But he's not married to a system that is going to be his downfall. And so what he's trying to do is, most of the time when he's losing is when he doesn't have quality. And there's a big difference between Ange saying that I'm not going to change my tactics or my system because that is who I am as a manager. And that is what all managers bring, right? Is that they bring their identity with them. But at the same time, you have to be flexible enough to realize that there has to be some amount of pragmatism in there that is going to cater for how well you're going to apply your system. And Ange is not willing to do that. And that's a disappointing thing in him, that, for me, more than anything else. The wins and the losses, yes, of course. And you can see the disparity. You can always see the disparity in the wins and in the losses. The point of that, though, is that even when we win by such wide margin that the mistakes, right, kind of go away. It flies under the radar. All the mistakes that we are making, all those mistakes that you see happen for the games that we lost and the two that we have drawn are the same mistakes that we are making when we are winning. And so, fans get into this of cheering so loud for the win that they don't see the follies of not having a structured system wherein it is predicated on how much offense you're going to have and how many goals you're going to score. This is a Premier League, and I'm sorry, you're not going to go out there and wallop team 4-0 and every week. It does not happen. And if it does, it's going to happen only for a time. So even if you go on a 10, maybe say anywhere between 6 and 7 game run where you're walloping teams are going to figure that out. So it's going to come the time when you need to have a 1-1 draw. You need to eke out a 2-1 win. You have to have a 1-0 win to make sure that on top of all those wins that you have stability behind it, wherein you're not losing because you can't win. And so when you get to the point when it's all or nothing, you end up with where we are right now, where we are trying to get stable. I don't see us getting stable at all, even when the defenders come back. And that's where we're missing most of our players. If you look up front, we're not missing anyone up front. We don't need the help up front as much as we need it in the back line. And what did we do? We didn't sign a player, or not do, is that we haven't signed a player. And I'm talking to you on the 18th of January. We knew that from last year because the only player that we signed last year was Dragushin for the defense. Injuries are going to happen, and we have no caveat in there to say that if Phillips, who I think is on the verge and a wonderful center back, is having a good season, we can call him back in January and give him 6 months here just for coverage, because we know that the type of football that we play, go big, have less offensive player and have more defense, because the way we play, it's that it dictates that you need rotation. You play high, you play fast, and it leads to a lot of things that really and truly I think it's more detrimental to the players. I'm not sure if I can repeat what I said about the type of football, but other analysts on bigger channel way than mine and mainstream has said that. I think Warnock of NBC said that the disappointment that, listening to Ange, is that he wants to play like a schoolboy. He wants to play schoolboy football, and these are grown men. And I've said it before, that you're not going to have consistently over a period of time, or length and games combined. You're going to have players playing at the breathtaking pace that you want. This is the Premier League. You can do that in lower leagues. You can do that in leagues. You can do that where everyone is in awe of you, and no one is in awe of you in the Premier League. So you're not going to get that in the Premier League. And you're asking grown men to be running like schoolboys. It's not going to work for too long. And it hasn't been working for some 60, well, let me see, 30, we're what, 20 something game in, 21 or whatever amount of games we are in. And from after the 15th game or so of last year, so that's 15th out of 38, we're talking about 23 games. So it's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. That's 40 something games that we haven't been good. And I'm not making that stuff up. And what you see is consistent, is that there is no plan B, and there will never be a plan B as long as Ange is there, because the success that Ange has is going to tell you that this is how I got here and I have no intention to change. Well, you can't tell millions of fans that every day who want to support you. I'm on the edge, really on the edge to support you. I'm dying with you, right, as a supporter, because I love the front foot football. I love the aggression and the offense. But when it turns over, when it turns around, I want to see something. I want to see some shape in the midfield to the back. We turn the ball over, and if you go back to the game that not Bissouma but Destiny got hurt in, the video is up there. You could check it out at the Rude Boys Sound. And I think there's a clip where so you don't have to watch everything. You can see just the part that Udogie, when he busted his hamstring. Even though Bissouma had that pass left and he goes inside, right? I do have the clips. I might include it when I edit the video to add it in there. And what the important thing to look at, right? Even though the detrimental thing was turning over the ball, the important thing to look at, and what I've been talking about for so long, is look where Porro is. Look where Sarr is. Look where Dragushin is. And look where Gray is when the ball turn over. All of them. And even though we turned the ball over, it was still 5-on-3 or 3-on-5. And the ball did the work. Listen to what I said. The ball did the work. The ball got lost on the inside. It went outside, and they scored from the left, attacking us from the left side, which is our defensive right side. When you look at where Porro was and where Sarr was, when the ball went outside, Sarr had no idea where he's supposed to be going. Sarr was chasing the ball inside when you have Gray and Dragushin already inside as a two center back. If your fullback is so high, which Porro was practically 10 feet, we're taking the ball out, and Arsenal is deep, and Porro was standing next to Kulusevski in Arsenal's half, and you're wondering, right? How is it consistently, right, that on either side, and on most occasion, your fullbacks are higher than your midfielders? Why is it that your fullbacks are often higher than your midfielders? I'm not going to give Bissouma a pass. I'm just saying that the mentality of the team is that we have the ball and the switch goes on, that we are going to attack. Hear 'em, scare 'em. We are going to run this ball. We're going to run it out. We're going to go, and we're going to go hit the net on the other end. And it doesn't work like that. And so the mentality and the mindset is why you have Porro standing next to Kulusevski, and his man is the one that scored the goal. I'm not going to blame Dragoshin. I'm not blaming Sar. What I'm saying is that the position that Dragoshin was in was his responsibility to go over, right, for the ball that's coming in. But yet the ball and the man reached there long before the two people who should be there in Sar and in Poro. Dragoshin was closer to the ball in the end. So the fact of the matter is that the player in Trossard was able to carry the ball from almost the half line before he came in contact, and even when he shoot, no one was in contact with him, and that is a prime reason why we don't have a defensive shape. If we were playing with a good defensive shape, then what we'll do is that we'll use the ball to make sure that we recalibrate with whatever it is that we're doing. We resynchronize with everyone. That means the ball is going to go out a certain way. If Bissouma has the ball, then Sarr is next in line to get the ball, and Porro would be the last one. Long before it goes to, it gets to Kulusevski. So therefore, you have to stay in for the pass. And if you're staying in for the pass, you're doing two things. You're making yourself available for a pass, and you're putting yourself in a position in case the pass doesn't come, in case it gets turned over. I'm in a defensive position already. But if you find yourself with the ball not crossing the half line, and you're standing next to the winger, your own man, in the opposition third, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with the mindset. It simply means that our defenders are more concentrated on offense than they are their first responsibility. And I'm going to say this, which I said already, quality, that's not about quality. That has nothing to do with quality. Absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the player. It has everything to do with the system that the manager wants to use. And how do I know that? He said it himself. He said he's not going to change, and it's what he's going to do. So therefore, if that's what he's doing and is not going to change, that is what's happening on the practice pitch. And so when you get to the point of saying that, look, the players are not good enough. How do you know that the players are not good enough? How do I know that the players are not good enough? What indication do I have to say that the players are not good enough? Because I don't see them being put in a position. I don't see them being put in a shape wherein defense become optimum when we don't have the ball. I think the idea that everything that I do is going to be predicated on the offense is exactly what we're getting. And so if I'm saying that the manager is not producing, that's what I'm talking about. I don't dislike the manager overall. I like the fact that he's not going to sit on the ball, right, and slug it out. But there comes a time when the scoreboard is important. It comes a time when the game is important. It comes a time when the time is important. When the players you're playing against is important. So there are a lot of factors in there. It's not going to take away from your overall way of how you want to play. But at the same time, you can't lose a game if you can't win it. And we have been doing that. The games that we can't win, we lost all of them except two. And you can't have that approach. You can't have that huge gap. And we're seeing that. The same thing. And why we suffer offensively most of the time is that we there's this notion, and I'm not saying it. I'm saying it comes from the manager. And no matter how you tell some fans, they're not listening because they want to tell you about Daniel Levy. Or Daniel Levy is this, and Daniel Levy is that, and Daniel Levy only wants the money. And you ask them, do you see Daniel Levy actually putting a formation out there? No. No is the answer. Does the manager say that the players that he has, those are the ones that he wanted? Yes. Is the manager picking the 11 in a game day? Yes. Is the manager's system what it is? Yes. So how in the world you're going to blame Daniel Levy when you don't know who is your main man when we have the ball? How do you going to blame Daniel Levy if you don't know what defensive shape you're going to be in when we lose the ball? I can go down the list of teams and show you that pragmatism is embedded into what they do. right? Just let's start with Arsenal, because a lot of fans love to talk about Arsenal. Every time they look what Arsenal do and look at, Arteta is not this, Arteta. You know what happened with Arteta? Arteta know what he want to do. He's just trying to be a mad scientist sometimes. But you know what? It works most of the times, right? And when you look at Odegaard, right, and you look at how he's set up, you know where the ball is going. It doesn't matter where it goes, right? There are 2 intricate players there. 3 when Saka is healthy. Rice to Odegaard to Saka. Everything else doesn't matter. You go out there and you do your job. Because the ball, when we have the ball, and then everybody gets back and play defense, right? You saw that. You saw that. That's a system you can identify every single time you turn the television on and Arsenal is playing, right? You look at Newcastle, right? I'm going down the line, right? When they have the ball, it's going to Guimaraes, right? And Guimaraes is going to go to either Gordon or it's going to go to Isak. There's no gray area. There's absolutely no gray area, right? You look at Man City, even though they're struggling, he's going to go to De Bruyne or he's going to go to Bernardo Silva. The ball needs to find Erling Haaland, right? All the teams that we want to compare ourselves with, I want to talk about Liverpool, right? Gravenberch, McAllister, Saka. Nobody else exists. Doesn't matter, right? So when the playmakers get the ball, they know ultimately where the ball is supposed to go, and they make it happen. What else can I use as an example? Because I have them here for all the people who are talking about, the quality is not there. That has nothing to do with the quality. Absolutely nothing to do with the quality. It has to do with whether or not you want to play a certain system and you want to play it properly. Nottingham Forest. Let's look at it. Last one I'm going to give you, Nottingham Forest. Anywhere Gibbs White is, the ball is going to find him. Where it's going to go, Elanga or Hudson-Odoi. Nothing else matters, because that's the objective of the offense. That's their offense right there. You look at Bournemouth, and the intent is to get to the Kluivert and Semedo. You see all of that. We are trying to have everybody involved. We want to go to Son, we want to go to Johnson, we want to go to Kulusevski, we want to go to everybody except Solanke. What's the objective? The objective is to get the ball into Solanke. And no matter the route that we take, you don't see that effort. If you make that effort, it becomes a pattern. I'm going to free Maddison. Maddison needs to be free because he's going to get the ball, because the objective is to go to Kulusevski wide or Son wide or Solanke down the middle. You don't see that from us. Everybody wants to touch the ball. Everybody wants to do something. No, the touches are supposed to be limited. It should have one directive that should branch off into where it ultimately should go, because I need to get it to my goal scorer, or from my midfielder I need to get it to my most attacking player who's going to make something happen. And you don't see that with Spurs. The fullback needs to have it, and then they play it around and everybody gets a touch. No. If you're a defender, your job is to defend, and defend well, and be an auxiliary player on the offense. You're not supposed to be that integrated that the ball has to find you, or else you seem like you're not a part of what's happening. That's rubbish. And so we have no identity of what we're supposed to be doing. Anyway, just saying my piece, just wrapping up the week and looking forward to tomorrow with Everton. I might do a pre-game video, but there's not much to say. There's nothing to get excited about. We're playing a bottom of the table team, and if that's what we're gonna, get me up and get me excited, I can't. We go out and we beat Everton. So what? We went out there and for some reason, somehow, we find a good thing against Newcastle in the second half. and then we find a good thing that I thought was something that was brought over from Newcastle when we played Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, and we looked like we know what we were doing. And I'm like, wow, we have changed direction now a little. And then you see the nonsense against Tamworth and against Arsenal, where we revert to the same thing we were doing before. So what confidence do I have? Do I have to rely on the opposition to get a win? That the opposition is not good enough, so automatically I should win? I didn't see that coming out of Tamworth. So what confidence should I have for a major league team that we have a chance to even get a point from them at home? Give me a break. I'm losing my patience, y'all. I'm losing my patience. I'm not at the point where I'm going to say I need Ange to be out. I've said it before, and I thought I was the one who was making the mistake of being overcritical, overanalyzing. When he said that, you know what? I'm not going to change. I'm going to stick to my belief, stick to what I want. And I say, yeah, now I don't have to worry about whether or not there's a plan B. So it's not like he's trying to come out of himself to do something. So I'm going to back him with his plan A. And in that plan A, I thought that plan A meant that he has some pragmatism in there. So you're not distracted by trying to implement more, things that you're not comfortable with. So you're going to make sure that your plan A works, because your plan A is your plan B. And so nothing has changed. And so that support that I said I would give, it's waning, literally waning. I'm beginning to feel like I'm wasting my time every week because I'm seeing the same thing over and over and over again. In a win, in a loss, it's the same thing. And what I said to a poster early in the week, I haven't gotten to the point wherein I can blame the players. No, I haven't. And the reason why I can't blame the players, because the players are being played one out of position, and I haven't seen what the manager is doing tactically going to tell me that, look, this is the reason why X, Y, Z. I don't see it. And until I see that, then I can tell you whether or not the player is good enough for the system that he wants to play. He said in his own words that the players are, the players that he wants, whether it be young, whether it be 18, 19, or 22. It doesn't matter. He said he wants them. So show me that you want them and use them the way they're supposed to be used. Because I am definitely on the way down. My support is waning, and it's probably going to be starting to flash across my screen. I need this man out my club because he's too pig-headed, he's too bone-headed. As a former coach, you'd never want to see that. You never want to see a manager or a coach said, even when it's not working, and advisably and publicly, you're told that it's not working, and your retort is that we're not going to change. The losses are piling up, and your answer is that this is who we are. We're not going to change. You're from an American football coach, manager, Bill Parcells, the great Bill Parcells, said, you are who your record says you are. And there's nothing more true than Tottenham Hotspurs right now. We are who our record say we are. Peace. I'm out of here. I will see you on the next video.